Hello and welcome to the Oxygenaddict Triathlon Podcast. We're brought to you every week by our sponsors, PrecisionHydration.com.
Precision Hydration offer electrolyte drinks in different strengths to match how you sweat. Personalise your hydration strategy today at precisionhydration.com and get a free box or tube of pH worth up to $9.99 using the code Oxygenaddict.
We're also brought to you by foodcell.co.uk.
The next generation of top tube nutritional carriers for your bike, designed to allow endurance triathletes and cyclists to carry enough food and gels while allowing easy access. Use the code FREEPOST for free delivery worldwide. Check it out at foodcell.co.uk.
And we're also brought to you by teamoxygenaddict.com triathlon coaching.
Helping hundreds of age group triathletes see huge improvements in their 70.3 and Ironman performances. The time training system makes sure that you get the important training done each week in a way that complements the rest of your life.
All right, everybody, welcome to the show. This week we have got an interview with 20-year-old Sam Laidlow, you'll remember, who's the winner of the Lakesman Triathlon a couple of weeks ago, the Iron-distance race in the Lake District in the UK. He went 8:21 with a low 2:40s marathon in what was, we thought it was his first marathon. It turns out he'd done another crazy, ridiculous, hard one in France already. We got results for Ironman Germany, Ironman France, half Ironman Finland, and also WTS Montreal. And we've also got with us Hells with details of the Wrexham Kids Canute Duathlon. How did it go, Hells?
It was great. It was really
fun.
Good, Rob. Yeah, we had about 70 kids taking part,
Awesome.
So that's good. So it's the first time we had been there to Wrexham, and it's always difficult going to a new place and trying to spread the word and sort of get volunteers and all that sort of thing. But we had amazing 4 students came to help us out from the local sixth form college and Colleague Cambria. And I'm telling you, Rob, I think sometimes teenagers get such a bad rap. They couldn't have been more helpful. And we wanted them there at 8:30 in the morning, and they worked their butts off. And then the kids, oh my God, some of them, we get them to tell us a little fact about themselves when they register, so then we can read it out on the loudspeaker on the PA. And some of them say, yeah, I like surfing, or I'm really good at rock climbing. And you're like, oh my God, you must be ridiculously talented because you've just gone and beaten everyone else by miles.
Yeah,
you clearly love playing football way more than you do duathlon. So
70 more budding triathletes and duathletes for the future lined up on the start line for 15 years' time, Hells. Great work.
Definitely.
Bring the next generation through. Love it.
So we've got one more race, Rob, which is on the 7th of July. So next weekend is going to be more kids duathlons. So it's in Knutsford. It's the last one of this year. And if you do want to enter, or you know someone that might want to enter, it's for kids between the age of 4 and 12, duathlons and fun run as well. Just head to canuteduathlon.com.
Great stuff. And I've got to say, if you are within driving distance of Knutsford, and let's be honest, Hells, everywhere is within driving distance of Knutsford, get yourself there, bring your kids along and have a laugh. It was a awesome festival type experience, and kids don't need tri-suits, do they? They can just bring along their little chopper BMX and zoom around on that and have a real laugh. So yeah, get yourself up and give that a go this weekend, everyone.
Thanks. How are you, Rob? Go on, you tell me. You've been in a tri-suit.
I've been in a tri-suit. Yeah, I had a last-minute burst of inspiration. Went out for a ride with a mate of mine, Jim, and he said, "Oh, we're doing the Abersock Triathlon this weekend," and I was like, "Oh, I really fancy that. I've got nothing on Saturday," and he knew the organizer, even though it was closed, so he managed to sneak me a last-minute entry. And it was the perfect day in Abersock. It was beautiful, flat, calm water. Super clear. Saw a massive jellyfish when I was warming up. It scared the life out of me. A proper foot-long danglers hanging out the back of it. Yeah.
Oh God, bigger than your head.
Yeah. But nice, so you swim out, I don't know, maybe 100 meters and then swim along the shore so you can see the bottom going by. The water's crystal clear. Yeah, it was beautiful.
See, that sounds beautiful apart from the jellyfish. I need to get... No, I don't need to get over it. I'm just not going to...
The locals told me that the stings aren't that bad, even if you get stung. They said,
fine.
They said, it's the only one. You'll be all right. I was like, really? I'm going to swim behind you guys.
Jonathan the jellyfish. He's fine. He's friendly, really.
Yeah. Yeah, it was good fun, actually.
And how did you get on? How did you enjoy it?
It was brilliant fun. Yeah, it was great to be back having a race. My mind was willing, but the body wasn't quite remembering how to do it. I think that's the best way to sum it up. Went a bit nuts on the bike and biked like I was bike fit, and then got off and I was like, okay, let's do this. Let's go for no. Run legs were quite firmly left somewhere back out on the bike course. But yeah,
was
it was
10K? Was it 10K run or 5K?
It was only 5K. It was just the sprint I did. But it was in you have to run along the beach for a mile, up a big hill, back along the beach for a mile. And the last 50 yards were in really soft white sand. And I was honestly thinking, my legs are just not going to get there. I'm just going to spin my wheels. Yeah, it was good though. I think I was 15th. And fourth old guy, great. So that was all right. Oh, yeah,
good. That's good. And did it make you, when you got home and on the sort of buzz, did you think, I really want to enter another one now?
I was right on the entry button. Yeah, I was looking for stuff for next weekend. Yeah, I was. Let's go do this.
Are you not coming to help out with the kids' duathlon?
Well, we'll see.
We could do with an extra pair of hands.
We will see.
Okay.
I've been trying to convince my little lad to come and do it, and bizarrely, even though we really enjoyed the first one, he's got a bit of I don't want to do another one about him. So yeah, so I need to kind of work on him. We'll see. If I've got him that day, so if he's in, we're there. But if not, obviously,
you're gonna go do fun stuff.
I'll be child-minding. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Yeah, like it. I was going to say, Rob, last week I went up Snowdon on Thursday.
Really?
Yeah.
Just for the sheer fun of it?
Well, I went up with Louise Minchin. It had been a long time in the planning.
Very
she
nice.
prepares for another long distance triathlon this summer.
What's she got going on?
Norseman.
Oh, right on. How far away is that?
August the 3rd.
Right, so she's got a month and a week, a month maybe.
Yeah. So we went up Snowdon. We had such a good day.
I bet you did. Yeah, it's beautiful, wasn't it?
It was clear blue skies. It was very windy at the top, but it was great. And we went really early, and so when we were at the top, the cafe hadn't even opened. That's how early we were. So we beat the train.
Nice. That's the best time to get there, isn't it?
Yeah, really. And it was, often when you go up Snowdon, it's just, you can be treated to typical Welsh grey, wind, rain.
Yeah, totally.
This was, complete opposite, and you could have incredible views.
Nice. All right. Well, we'll look forward to updates on her racing in a month's time. Hey, she excited?
Yeah. Really excited.
Terrified.
Yeah.
Yeah. Practice jumping off a ferry into freezing cold water.
She did it in Patagon, man. So she's more than she's really prepared for the water because she did a lot of I want to say cold water acclimatization ahead of the one in Chile.
Brilliant.
Yeah,
we'll have to get Ron and hear all about it.
We will see.
Line it up. Right, so we talk about a few results from this weekend. Then it's been a big weekend of racing out in Europe, hasn't it?
Yes,
sure has.
Crazy heat, Rob.
Crazy heat. Well, before we do that, we'll give a shout out to sponsors Food Cell. Do you know what, Hals? I whipped the old Food Cell out for the weekend, even though I was racing a sprint. I was struggling to find out what to do with my spares kit, and I thought, right, let's give this a go. Let's work out exactly what fits in here, and perfect for the job. I got a spare tube, 2 CO2s, an inflator, and a multi-tool in this thing. Slid it shut, fit perfectly, and I was thinking, oh, you've tried this in training, but you always get that annoying rattle, don't you, on race day that worries you. What's that rattling noise coming from my bike?
Yeah.
But it all wedged in there beautifully with one spare inner tube with no sound at all. So super impressed with that. Dead useful, obviously, for getting in your spare flapjacks or your spare gels if you're racing long distance, but also formed that really nice way to get your spares kit on the bike if you're racing sprint or Olympic in a way that doesn't mess up your aerodynamics. Because I'll tell you, I needed every single watt that I could find this weekend. So yeah, dead impressed with it. A few people down at Abersock stopped and had a chat who were, if you were listeners of the show and stopped to say hi, thank you very much. They were checking out the old Food Cell on the top. So it's good that word's getting out there about it. I remember you can get yourself free delivery worldwide with the code FREEPOST, and it comes by courier. So if you're abroad, if you're in America or wherever else, super awesome to get free delivery on this thing. Free delivery with the code FREEPOST. All right, so first up, let's kick off. Ironman Germany was the big race. We had Jan Frodeno going head-to-head with Sebi Kienle and Patrick Lange. Did you manage to see much of it?
I didn't, Rob. So you're gonna have to fill me in. I was in the field all day, so I've seen like the odd clip, but that's it. So what? Fill me in on the finer details. Yeah, come on. I've just heard I've heard bits, but I need you to fill me in.
Well, first up, a bit of a damp squid for Patrick Lange. He flattered, and so he was out of contention for the race, and ended up just, I don't want to say cruising it round, but he basically went round to validate for Kona. Once he flattered, his race was over, and he definitely took the foot off the gas.
He said, I heard somewhere that he had stomach issues as well.
Oh, really? Oh,
yeah.
That's interesting.
Yeah, and then he said, because he said it's sort of like it's the one that he's probably learned the most from.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, a lot of the coverage, obviously, once he flattered, he was, he disappeared from the coverage and out of everyone's minds, really. The big news was Jan Frodeno swam at the front with Dylan McNeice, had a 2-minute lead to the group, non-wetsuit swim, and guess who turned up in the group? None other than Sebi Kienle. So, got to be his best ever swim, especially considering it was non-wetsuit. And he biked up to Jan Frodeno, off they go, get into transition together, and then all of a sudden there's all this kerfuffle going on with the film crews gathering around Sebi Kienle. Fair play to Jan Frodeno. He came over to have a look what was going on. He figured out something was going on and looks like he's asked him if he's okay. Sebi Kienle stepped on some glass coming out the water and rode the whole bike like with a proper chunk of glass sticking out of his heel. So the cameras pretty much, they went for it. They were proper cameramen. Got the lens right in there into the heel as the medic was pulling this chunk of glass out of his heel.
I did see that bit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, like, fair play to Sebi Kienle for doing that. It was right underneath where he'd been running as well, wouldn't it?
Yeah. I don't.
Yeah. So he closed the gap, ran up to Jan Frodeno, and then Jan Frodeno ran away from him at about the halfway point, but put a surge in. But like the two of them were streets ahead of everybody else. Frodeno finished in, I think, was it 7:55, 7:56, something like that?
Yeah, 7:56. Yep.
And 4 minutes behind for Sebi Kienle, who was a second over the 8-hour marker. But talk about a head-to-head race in those kind of conditions, to do that kind of time on a course where the bike course was 5K long, and it was under a degree heat. Amazing stuff.
I don't even. I simply, it's absolutely baffling. And Rob, their T1 time for Kienle, even with the glass being removed, 3:28.
No, they took the glass out in T2.
Oh, did they?
Yeah, so
it was right. So even So even then,
so even with him having the glass pulled out, he only lost 30 seconds to Jan Frodeno.
Yeah,
it would have been interesting to see what would have happened if they'd run out of T2 together without that issue, and they hadn't had to make the effort to catch him.
Yeah, and how long they would have sort of battled side by side.
It's got to make a big difference, hasn't it, when they're running at 2:40 pace straight off the bat? If he's got to close down 30 seconds, it's got to make a difference, hasn't it?
Yeah.
Wow. So, like, hats off to anybody who raced in those conditions. It just looked super brutal. And in the women's race, Hell's Sarah True, 7-minute lead, a couple of kilometres to go. Just epic bodily shutdown.
So what was happening then on it? Because I've read about this, but I haven't seen the video. So what was, because it was literally like 500 meters to go, wasn't it?
Yeah, well, from about 2Ks out, she stopped on the last bridge and puts her hand on her knees, and you're thinking, oh, that doesn't look good. But then she set off again, and she was running really well. And then she stopped again, and then she was running really well, and you're thinking, what's going on? Is it nutrition? Is she having like a low blood sugar thing? And then obviously something started to badly go wrong. She started to really wobble, and it made for that sort of compelling, but also like stop running, somebody help her kind of viewing, Her arms started to stick out at the side, and in the end, one of the age groupers sort of said to her something, it looked like, are you okay? And then he grabbed her under the armpit. She just went down totally, and luckily she was right next to her the sort of medics, and they didn't mess about. Four of them picked her up and carried her off the course, and she was just completely done, completely out of it. So whether it was heat exhaustion or a combination of that and nutrition, she was just, it was awful to watch. And, with maybe a mile to go, they had to run down a steep hill off the bridge. It looked like she was going to bounce off the barriers. She was going to bounce off the light thing, and she just missed each one. And you were like, oh my God, don't fall over. It was just horrifying. So yeah, with 500 meters to go, and she still had a 7 or 8 minute lead at that point as well.
Oh, it's just absolutely gutting. And I don't know. I feel so bad. I feel really sorry for her because she went to Cairns and had a kind of a collapse there as well.
Yeah.
And I heard an interview with her, and she was saying, if I don't get my Kona slot at Cairns, then I'm going to have to go to Frankfurt. But oh my God, that's so expensive. I'm really hoping that it all goes okay in Cairns. And then obviously it didn't. So then she had to go to Frankfurt and to be within, 500 meters. And then,
and it's she needs to figure out racing in the heat, doesn't she? She needs to work out whether her body can do it and how it can do it. And there's obviously, that's going to be the massive piece of the puzzle, because 2 collapses in the heat and the humidity, it's probably a good job, because she is obviously the mental drive is so strong for her that racing in the heat and humidity of Kona would just be super challenging on top of all the other challenges of Kona,
Yeah. It's I mean, she raced in Kona last year, didn't she? So, and she was,
of course, yeah,
4th, wasn't she? Yeah. So that's, it's obviously
it's super hard, isn't it? When people are,
and we don't know what's going on, do we?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I just hope she's okay. I mean, no one's heard anything from her, but it looked, honestly, when you watch the video back of it, I'm watching this with the eyes of good. I'm glad she's not going to Kona. I'm glad she hasn't got that on her mind. I just hope she's all right. It was a proper bodily shutdown kind of event.
Yeah.
Really hope she's okay.
She has said she was at the post-race press conference. Oh, I can imagine having to come out of that. That'd be awful.
Oh, that's good that she was well enough to do that.
Yeah, and she has said, thanks everyone for the support for Ironman Frankfurt. I'm pretty devastated to have missed out on winning my first Ironman when I collapsed with 1 to go.
Yeah.
Oh, so yeah.
Well, she's clearly all right then, isn't she? She's clearly thinking about racing again already.
Yeah, but gutted.
So in the absence of that, then we had Skye Mensch take it out in 9:15. A strong all-round race from her, closing with a 3:14 marathon from Imogen Simmons. She's about 10 minutes up the road from Imogen Simmons. And
her first Ironman for Imogen Simmons, wasn't it?
God, what conditions to be doing your first Ironman
in. I know. Crazy.
Yeah, and then, sorry, I didn't do the results of the men's race, did I? Jan Frodeno in first in 7:56, Sebi Kienle in second in 8 hours flat and 1 second, and Franz Lursker in third in 8:17. Okay, other racing in super hot conditions we had was Ironman France, where we had wins for Carrie Lester and James Kanama over there.
Yep, and this race they decided to shorten, actually. I was reading up about it on Friday evening, and it said that, authorities in Nice had sort of said to Ironman, you must shorten this. So the swim was standard, and then the bike was 152k and the run was 30k.
Yeah. It's an interesting confluence, that of racing crossing over with real life, because there was a lot of chatter on social media of people sort of saying, oh, that's really soft on the authorities for them to make them do that. But the historical context, you read back to the last time they had a heat wave like this in France.
Oh, thousands of people died.
15,000 people died in the heat. And so obviously the government are going, there are going to be more demands on the local emergency authorities potentially than, you can understand them making a decision like that, can't you?
Oh, massive! Absolutely massively.
It's hard to understand if you've not lived through something like that historically. But that's a hideous event in history, isn't it?
Oh yeah. And so James Kanama won the race in 7:16. Great to see him back in form and going to be going to Kona again. Kevin Rundstadler was second in 7:23, and Freddie Van Leerd third in 7:27, and then Carrie Lester won the women's race in 8:05 ahead of Tina Deckers and Manon Genet in 8:14.
Yeah, interestingly, if you watch the coverage, Freddie Van Leerd had a pretty commanding lead off the bike. He came off with something like 8 or 9 minutes ahead of everybody else and looked super strong. And then he lost 20 minutes to James Kanama on the run, just had a total meltdown over 30k, and this is a guy who's run low 240s for the marathon loads of times, is I want to say 5-time or 6-time winner of this race before. Just a total meltdown on the run for him.
He did a 2:23, didn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah, mega meltdown.
So 20 minutes slower than James Kanama over 30k. So I was watching bits and bobs of the Facebook Live footage for this, and he just looked in a world of hurt on the run. Yeah, really, really, almost like he looked. When somebody goes like a pasty color, even though it's red hot. Ooh, it was like, I hope you're gonna be all right, man.
Oh God.
Yeah.
No, for anyone who was racing Nice or racing at Frankfurt this weekend, or in Valsay or wherever across Europe in the heat, seriously, I hope everyone's okay, and sort of chapeau.
Yeah, you said it. All right, quick mention here then to 70.3 Finland in Lahti, where we had a bit of British success, didn't we?
There was a bit of British success, and nice and timely, Rob, because next week on the show we are going to have Kat Wright, who came second in Finland at the weekend, which is awesome. She only turned pro this year, and she is having a brilliant time. She was on the podium at Staffordshire, and then she's followed it up nicely here as well. So she's qualified for the 70.3 World Championship. She did that at Staffordshire. She had qualified last year as an age grouper for it, so she's had to give that up, and then she'll be going as a pro.
Brilliant. Yeah. I'll look forward to hearing her story then.
And then the winner was India Lee.
Awesome.
Also of Great Britain.
Yeah.
Which, fantastic, in 4:17. And you've said that we've got to get India on at some point. And then Finland's Kaisa Sally was third in 4:24.
Lucy Hall was there as well. She was in the lead group coming out of the water. She finished in 6th overall. I'm not sure whether that was her first 70.3 or not.
I was thinking that. I think it might be, but she did do Escape from Alcatraz recently.
Okay.
I'm not saying that's the same distance at all, but I know she did do that.
Stepping up the distances a bit, isn't she?
Correct. Yeah.
Good. Yeah. And over on the men's side, the race was taken out by Daniel Bakkegaard of Denmark ahead of Nicholas Karlstein and Manuel Kung. Okie dokes, Hells. I think we do a quick mention here for WTS Montreal. We had wins for... Go on, you can do the pronunciation. I'm going to give you the hats off for this.
Oh, Jelle Gaines.
Jelle Gaines takes out the win, takes down Mario Mola in the men's race. And over on the ladies' side, it was a bit of a reversal, wasn't it? Katie Zafiris went and took Georgia Taylor-Brown back, got a revenge.
Yeah, she did. She finished off going just sub 17 minutes for the run.
Nice.
Yeah, got that win. Taylor Brown second and Jess Learmont third. So another fantastic set of results for Georgia Taylor Brown and Jess Learmont as they, work towards Tokyo.
Good stuff. All right then, so we're going to move on to our interview of the week, which is with Sam Laidlow. The interview is sponsored by PrecisionHydration.com, and we're going to give them a shout out here. If you guys are racing in the heat or training in the heat, and let's be honest, it seems like everybody is at the moment, they've got a fantastic blog on their site at the moment that I'm going to put a link to in the show notes. And it's all about not just like staying hydrated on race day is obviously part of the challenge, but a big part of it is starting the race hydrated, not going into it dehydrated. Because I was thinking most of the time when it's hot like this, most people are sort of saying, oh, I'm so toasty after that training session that I've just done. I'm not sure that I've recovered from the last session before I'm trying to do the next session. I just feel like I've got a headache all the time, or I feel really crispy. So they've got some great advice on sort of starting your race hydrated. I thought we'd go through the quick takeaways from the article that Andy Blow's written on the site there. He's recommended drinking one bottle of Precision Hydration with 1,500 milligrams of their pH sodium in the evening before the activity. This is a 500 milliliter bottle, another one of those 500 ml bottles with 1,500 milligrams in about 90 minutes before the start of the race. And then finish your drink between 45 minutes to 60 minutes before you start. He says to give your body time to fully absorb what you need and to pee out any excess. I think I'd still be peeing in the wetsuit held if that was me drinking that much just before the race. But then you've got that in, and then he says drink the pH 1,500 in the water you'd have drank anyway to ensure that you don't overdo it. Don't just drink lots and lots of water in the build up to a race. That's the absolute key here. Don't just drink lots of water, because you can end up basically flushing loads more sodium out of your body. So make sure you actually get that. It's almost like preloading with sodium, isn't it? To try and take account of it in the night, the 24 hours before the race. So have a good read of that blog over on the website. It's an interesting read, and there's loads more stuff to it than I've gone through there. All right, so we'll go over to this week's interview of the week with Lakesman winner Sam Laidlow. Sam, welcome to the show. It's lovely to have you on. I believe we've managed to get you literally just as you've got back off the plane, and you've just managed to arrive home through a French traffic jam.
Yeah. So I've just got back home, and I'm happy to talk to you. Yeah, by all means, cheers for having me on.
Well, first up, awesome performance at the Lakesman Iron-distance race up in the Lake District this last weekend. Let's just go through the splits for the people who haven't. I mean, we talked about you on the show a couple of weeks ago after the race actually happened, but it was a 48-minute swim, 4:45 on the bike, and then you closed it out with a 2:42 run for what was your first official Ironman. So, how does that work? How do you go about running 2:42 straight off the bike?
Yes, it's funny you say that. Here in France, I'm kind of known for the guy who always swims hard, bikes hard, and then I generally mess it up on the run, to be honest. And this time, I don't know, all the pieces of the puzzles came together, and it just worked out. I just set off at a good pace, and I was cruising, and I just thought as per normal I was going to blow, and in the end I didn't.
It just all stayed together, and you had a good run. Hey.
Yeah, that was the way. And so the day didn't start off, for me, it didn't start off brilliantly, to be honest. And actually, to be honest, the 2 weeks leading up to it, I'd had a pretty hard time. And but anyway, so I headed off. It kind of meant a lot to me to do this race, just for personal reasons. My dad was meant to do it, and he grew up in Keswick and stuff like that. So anyway, it didn't start off great. The swim, I had problems sighting, and it was a bit long as well, so I came out and I thought 49, I was aiming to go more towards 45. And then my dad had said that the bike was really flat, and I just naively thought it was flat, never having really ridden in the Lake District. Okay. And I was aiming more of a kind of 4:30. And in the end it was 4:45, and I'd actually thought I'd already bonked, to be honest, towards the end of the ride, and I thought, God, this is going to be a long marathon, and I don't know. Yeah, I mean, sometimes it's just the way the cookie crumbles, and I always give it 100%, if you know what I mean, from the start to finish, and it just all came together. So I'm chuffed, really. You
just had pretty good legs on the run, then. It sounds like it. It's nice when those days come together on race day, isn't it? And you have magic legs.
Yeah. So, but as I said as well, ever since I've been a kid, it's really been where I've lacked confidence, and it's just not. It's not my natural ability. I wasn't born to be a runner, if you know what I mean. And I was the guy who in the school cross countries, I'd be way down, and I'd be the only one training, if you know what I mean. All the others would just rock up, and after having smoked a few fags and drunk all night, and they'd still beat me. And so it means a lot to kind of really emphasise that run leg, and I believe in myself a lot more now after that result, which is the fundamental of it, I think, to be honest. If you believe truly in something, you can achieve it, really, in anything. Something that I really go about.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's very interesting to hear you say that you've always lacked confidence in your run, and maybe you've been beaten over shorter distances by guys. But I tell you what, I mean, I'm sure you've seen the results that the top pros turn out. There are not very many people ever running in the low 240s, let alone in their first ever iron distance race. So who knows, man? It might be that you've lacked just a little bit of gas on the short distance stuff, but it turns out you're absolutely made for running a marathon off the bike, right?
Yeah, apparently, yeah. Just to be clear, and some people say I shouldn't say it, but I can't not say it. It's just like the run was like 2 kilometers short, so it probably would have been like 5.5, 6 minutes slower, maybe even a bit more, if you know what I mean, if it was a proper marathon. But still, I mean, to be honest, I was aiming for 3 hours or just up to 3 hours, and I was really chuffed if whatever it is, if it's a 2:47, and I'll take it, if you know what I mean. And
yeah, well, that's incredibly humble of you to point out that it was a little bit short, because like you say,
I mean,
even 5 or 6 minutes you're still absolutely roasting that run split.
Yeah, and also, I mean, it was still a tough bike course. I mean, although the time wasn't fast, I averaged somewhere around like 270 watts, which in some races, like, I know that Ironman plays out differently, because I mean, the guys are coming out and it's almost like they're riding in packs sometimes, and it just comes down to a run race. So I think it is important now to be able to run down in the low 240s, and I actually think I can, because the run course, to be honest, it wasn't very fast either. There was like dead turns every 10 meters, and I just know that on a better course and on a good day, I'm sure, because I've been into races. I've gone into races a lot fitter than what I was at the Lakesman. As I said, like the 2 weeks leading up to it weren't good. My head wasn't in the right place, and so that's also a very positive note, is that I had a great result, but I also know deep down that I can do a lot better, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, it's funny, isn't it, how sometimes you have your best results at a time when you're not really, you really think you're not going to have your best result, and maybe as a result of not putting that pressure on yourself for a peak performance, you end up letting the pressure off a little bit and having a really good one. Yeah. So tell us a little bit about yourself. The thing, I mean, you literally came out of nowhere on my radar. I know that over in France, you raced for one of the Grand Prix teams over there, and you're a very well-known athlete. You're only 20 years old, so let's point that out when you're doing your first Ironman at 20 years old, and you've obviously grown up. Is it right your family moved over to France when you were 7 or 8 years old?
They just decided for some strange reason that they would move to France and set up a triathlon business when I don't know, my mum had nothing to do with triathlon, and my dad was a very good swimmer, and he started to get into coaching, and they just thought it was a good idea and it would be the perfect lifestyle to bring up kids. And so I came when I was 3 to France, and to be honest, I couldn't be lucky. I mean, I grew up here in the foot of the Pyrenees, where my parents have their own business, and I've just grown up with it, if you know what I mean. And they've never forced me into it. I mean, as a kid, I did lots of different sports. I did judo, did rugby, did football, did a bit of everything, to be honest.
Okay.
And but I've always, from a very, very young age, I've just always dreamed of Hawaii, and that's my goal, if you know what I mean. And I'm not going to hide it from anybody. So what was I saying?
So your dad, Richard, he was one of the. Sorry to interrupt you. He was one of the guys who set up Tri Lakeland back in the day? Is that right?
Him and my grandfather. Yeah. So my grandfather particularly. Yeah.
Wow.
So that's when my dad started, and it was good. It was great because I stayed with my grandfather, who they now live down in Barrow, and they came to the race, and it meant the world to them, for me to go kind of back where they used to live, and
I bet it did.
Perform like that. Yeah, no, it was a great day. Yeah.
That's fantastic. So you grew up from the age of 3 in France. Your parents run a triathlon coaching business and sort of training camp type place out in France.
I just grew up around athletes all the time, and as a kid, as soon as I wasn't at school, I'd love to go out riding with them, if you know what I mean, or especially riding, to me. At that age, that's all I thought about. And every summer, I would always ask my dad if I could do like one really long ride. It was just, I've always had that ability to go on forever, but I wasn't like a naturally fast kid. And it started off when I was 10. Like every summer we'd do like a 100k ride, and in 11 it went up to 150. 12 we did 180, and then 13 to 115, and then at that point it was like, right, stop now. And so at 14 I actually did a like a half Ironman in training, if you know what I mean.
Really?
And it was just like, it wasn't at all like, there was probably going to be people saying, oh yeah, you shouldn't be doing that, but it wasn't at all like my parents pushing me. It was literally me. They were, if anything, they were kind of saying, oh no, like don't be silly. And so and then
and you're going, no, I'm fine, let's go.
Yeah, I'm good, let's go. And so at 13, then I moved away from home. I went to a boarding school up in Font-Romeu, which is where quite a lot of professional, not so much triathletes, but lots of professional runners and swimmers and stuff go to train. and I stayed up there for 3 years, which was the same, a great experience. But the actual triathlon structure wasn't brilliant. Well, I'm sorry, it was great, but it just like I still had to go to school quite a lot, and we didn't have many hours like in the pool, and I was probably training like 10 to 15 hours a week, which is I suppose it's still reasonable for when you're 13, but
you
and
just
then
wanted more, did you?
Yeah. So then I got selected to go into the National Training Centre in Montpellier. So there I was with lots of the best short course athletes, and then I got picked up by the team in Paris, so Poissy, which are like a French Grand Prix series team. So yeah, for those who like don't understand, or because it doesn't really exist in the UK, to be honest.
Yeah, I was going to say, well, this is a great opportunity for us to find out a bit about that, because we're aware of the French Grand Prix circuit, and we know that lots of triathlon racing happens in France, and lots of pros race, from the UK race in France for teams over there. But will you explain a bit about how it works for us, please?
Yeah, well, it's quite similar to like football or lots of different sports, where you basically have like Premier League and then Division 2, Division 3, and so it's exactly the same in triathlon in France. So if you're like a basic club, you can put a Division 3 club in and then work your way up basically to Division 1, and Division 1 is pro racing basically. So every guy on the start line has, it's not the same money as football, but every guy gets paid basically, and it brings athletes from all around the world, and it's one of the races where there's just like density that's you don't see anywhere else, even on the WTS circuit. Yes, the best are very, very good, but like there's people who come from countries where the level isn't so good, but literally in D1 it's like from the 1st to the 30th, like it could be less than like 45 seconds in it. It's crazy.
Yeah, sure.
So yeah, so I used to race with them, and I got into that team really young, and so I was already racing with them when I was 14. I think I did my first Grand Prix. So I was the youngest on the circuit, and but same, it was. I was just taking it all in, living the dream really, because I was taking the line next to Gomez and the Brownlees, and yeah, it was awesome. And so I did every year. I kept going at that, and then I enjoyed it, but deep down I didn't have that confidence to think, oh yeah, like you're going to run a 14:30 5K and win the race, if you know what I mean.
Yeah,
because
sure.
in them races, even if you swim well and you bike all right and you come off in the bike with first pack, it's a different ball game. Like it's literally like if I ran a 15:30, I'd be 40th, if you know what I mean. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, so it's interesting that like from an objective point of view, running 15:30 for 5K is unbelievably quick. But in those kind of races that you're doing, if there are 30 or 40 guys all running that pace and up to a minute quicker, I can see where you might get that kind of, I get a kicking in the run kind of feeling from that. You're just getting dealt to, despite the fact you'd be winning most club level road races over in the UK with that kind of time.
Yeah, well, people come from all around the world. In my club, we have guys literally come from Australia, from all over America, anywhere. And they come, I think, to gain experience. Because as I said, it's a density that you just can't find in any other type of racing, I think, and I gained so much experience through them races.
Yeah.
But so I enjoyed, as I said it, but I didn't feel like I was actually racing, because I would come off the bike and I just felt like I wasn't in the race, because some of the guys were just like, it's crazy the pace they run at. It is, but they're born with natural speed abilities, if you know what I mean. That I can't, or I don't know, maybe I can get there, but I just don't believe in it enough, if you know what I mean.
Sure.
But yeah, I guess I've always wanted to go to win Hawaii, and that's what my goal is. And so yeah, I've just slowly worked my way up, and I decided to leave the French training centre about 2 years ago and come back to where my parents live. So I came back and I live with them now. And I kind of work for them, so we still have people to this day come in on a regular basis. We've got people in now, in fact, and yeah, so it's great for me, because I've grown up kind of with different cultures, different perspectives.
Yeah.
It's different. It's not like I've been to camps on like Club La Santa and stuff. It's very different what we do. As I said, it's family owned, and we eat with them, and it's just a completely different. Yeah, it's a different experience, if you know what I mean.
Cool. So what's the name of the business that you and your parents run out there then?
It's called Sanctuaire Sportif.
Okay,
Yeah.
and have you got like a big house that's I think I read online,
Yeah,
it's like
so
a big
that's it,
converted.
So generally it's basically small groups or even individuals who come out. And we have actually catered for up to 60, but that's not what we specialize in. If we do that, we kind of expand out, and it's basically we manage it somewhere else, if you know what I mean.
Yeah,
nearby.
sure.
But yeah, I mean it's great for training. Lots of people know Girona for its cycling, and we're only an hour away. But here it's really nice because we're kind of at the foot of the Pyrenees, but we also have the sea, and so it's just like we get the best of both worlds, to be honest. And then there's also some awesome lakes, and yeah, it's really good.
I'm sitting here right now looking out the window, looking at some big black storm clouds rolling in. It's actually been quite pleasant here this morning, but right now it's going back to like the typical English.
Yeah, I got a shock getting out of the plane. I was like, oh, I got used to the Lake District weather, to be honest. It was like 35 degrees in Girona, so I flew into Girona here.
Well, I tell you what, it's a nice temperature to race an Ironman in the Lakesman. That's the best we can say for it, isn't it? Hey.
Yeah.
All right, cool. Well, listen, what we'll do is we'll stick a link to your place in the show notes so people can go and check that out, because it sounds like you've got a really decent setup there. And who knows, man? Maybe there'll be people want to come out and train with the Lakesman winner, and who knows, maybe potentially future Hawaii winner as well. So tell us a little bit about your day-to-day life now. Then, for the last couple of years, from 18 to 20, you've been living at home.
I decided to basically really come back, and I asked my dad to coach me, which he coaches loads of athletes all over the world, but he'd never coached me, just because he'd never forced me to train, and also because I'd just been in different schools and things like that. So he was never kind of like that kind of dad who really wants to coach his son.
Yeah, okay.
It just came naturally, and it was me who wanted to, and I asked him, and I thought the journey, like if I made it to the top, and when I do make it to the top, it'd only make it that much better, kind of if it's a story where we both made it to the top, I think. And it's quite rare, I think, in sports nowadays, if you know what I mean. And yeah, it's just something that it's really close to my heart.
Well, that's it's really touching, but it's also really interesting in that kind of relationship between father and son and coach and athlete. And how do you find it having been away to boarding school for sort of 6 years and effectively lived away from home? Do you feel like your relationship is different with your dad because of that?
I think it was difficult. I would say it took almost a year of kind of to adapt back into basically being their son again, if you know what I mean. And, I have a younger brother as well who's 10 years younger than me. I mean, to be honest, he's a lot more talented than I ever was, but he's just more bothered about football and stuff like that. But today, when he sets his mind to it, I better get going even quicker. But anyway, it's different, But as I say, I also coach a few athletes, and I think what my dad and me have is very different, because he knows me better than anyone, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
And then he also knows that I have quite a lot of knowledge, and so he doesn't just give me a plan and I don't just follow it. We kind of work together. I'm going to say, what I really want is this. I want to win Kona, and so this year we're going to aim for this and that and that. And so for this year, the main goal, what I'm aiming to do is to be the youngest person to break 8 hours in Ironman Barcelona this October. So I've been quietly working towards that, and I guess the Lakesman just showed up, and it was just a bonus, really, because as I said, my dad actually had registered, and he wanted to do it, and so he unfortunately snapped his patellar tendon in his knee. Yeah, so he couldn't do it, and I was like, great, I'll go and do it. And it happened to also be Father's Day, so it just all turned out really. Yes, some things like that. It's just like as if someone's looking down on you.
What did your dad say to you when he heard the result of the race?
What did he say? Well, he's not the most expressive of guys, but I know what he's thinking, if you know what I mean, deep down, and he's over the moon, and he's really proud of what I achieved. And it's funny because I know that he believed in a time like that, and sometimes like he'd give me paces in training, and I'd be like, there's no way, Dad. There's no way I can hold that like for a marathon after 108k at 270 watts or whatever. But yeah, as I said, like sometimes I just think he knows me better than I do.
Yeah. It's like he holds that belief for you.
Yeah. But it's what you need, isn't it? You need people who believe in you, and something I've really realised that this year is that how important it is to build a team around you, and then I guess when it comes to race day, you're not even racing for yourself. You're racing for them people who do support you every single day. And I've got my whole family to thank. Like my mum. I mean, she's always supported me. My little brother kind of looks up to me. I've got like my doctor in Girona that I see regularly, and lots and lots of people, even everybody who's come out here, if you know what I mean. They've all played a role, because it's just, as I said, I have to thank everybody, to be honest.
Yeah. I just can't quite get over going 8:21 in your first Ironman. I've got a little sheet of notes in front of me, and I keep coming back to this 8:21 written on the page in front of me.
It's my first flat Ironman. I actually did I did an Ironman when I was 18. It's my parents' organised. It's completely different. It's like it's an extreme triathlon. It's called the Bearman.
Oh no, I was going to ask you about this. Yeah, I saw this on your website. So yeah, tell us about this then.
So same. I was actually meant to do the final of the French Grand Prix series 2 years ago. So when I was 18, and I really wasn't enjoying it. I had a bad result previously, and I just said to my club, right, I'm going to go back home and help my parents organise the event, because I mean, it's not as though they're a big club organising it, if you know what I mean. So they really need every pair of hands they've got. So I thought I'd come down, and on the way back, I said to my dad, like, if I set off on the Bearman, how long do you reckon I could stay in front for? And he said, to be honest, I don't know. And so just the day before, I thought, right, I'm going to give it a go and just go for it and see how long I can hold on for. And so yeah, I came off the bike with a 30-minute lead, and I just figured, as long as I kept running, to be honest, because it was a pretty hilly run. There's over 2,000 meters of climbing on the marathon.
Wow.
As long as I kept running, really, the race was won. And so I mean, same again. I really, really surprised myself. And yes, I won the Bearman when I was 18. In 12 hours, which is a pretty slow time. But,
hang on a minute, right? So you did an extreme Ironman in the mountains with 2,000 meters of climbing on the run on itself, off no specific preparation other than what you were doing for the French Grand Prix.
Yes. That's the way, yeah.
Okay. Yeah. At 18 years old, it's fair to say you've got a good aerobic base there, then, isn't it?
Yeah. But I mean that. Yeah. I mean, I think we're all born with certain what do you call it? So I struggle to speak English, because I'm constantly like going from French to English, and I can't find my words.
Mate, don't you worry about it at all. You're doing a fantastic job. I couldn't speak to you for 2 seconds in French, so you take all the time that you need.
Yeah. So as I said, like, people often say that like kids should always work on their speed, and they shouldn't be doing silly long rides. And I think, but it's different from person to person, and I don't think there's no set formula. And I've always enjoyed I've always enjoyed doing longer aerobic efforts, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
And I've had my fair share of high intensity work with when I was in the French centre, and it just wasn't for me. I actually accumulated so much fatigue, and I couldn't take it in, to be honest, though, because we were just doing a little bit of, it wasn't huge weeks, but it just felt like we were doing a little bit of intensity every single day.
Yeah.
And I accumulated so much fatigue over them last 2 years where I was with them. And I almost quit. When I came back home, I almost quit triathlon. So it's a very hard year. And I think if there's anybody that's around that age group, like 18 to 20, who are listening to it, that period, I think between 17 and 21, where you come out of the junior rankings, and you were doing all right, and then you're suddenly faced with like a world of world-class athletes, and you think, bloody hell, how am I going to make a living out of this?
Yeah.
And especially, I'm really lucky because I've got lots of support around me, but I can't imagine how hard it would be, like, if you don't have that support, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's just, you really, really need to find that deep motivation, just like carry on through them years. And yeah, that's it really.
Well, what's your plan now then going forwards between now and Barcelona? Because obviously, if you can put a time together like this on your own in Lakesman, then you're not living in fantasy land to think you can go sub 8 hours at Barcelona for sure. You know, you've obviously got the swim that you've swum. I noticed you swam a 48 at Lakesman and you felt it was a bit slow, but I don't think there was anybody else there under the hour. So you probably had a 10 or close to 15-minute lead, certainly on the other top guys coming out of the water. So, you know, you'll be comfortably swimming that mid-40s, won't you?
Yeah, I think it's becoming increasingly important to be a good swimmer, I think, in Ironman now, with that, because it's the density in the top is so big that lots of guys come from a swimming background, will come from short course, and they're swimming so fast, and then they're riding together, and then it just comes down to a big run race really together. And so I was hoping to go more towards 45, because if I'm honest, I swim 48, 49 just in my warm up when I'm swimming in the lake here. So we'll see in Barcelona what time it is. But yeah, I've been working towards Barcelona. Has been the main goal since last November, and this year I've really decided not to race much, because before I was racing the Grand Prix series, and then every so often I was trying to do a non-drafting race, and it just wasn't working out. So I really cut down my race calendar and gone for the quality over the quantity.
Yeah. Have you got any 70.3s in the lineup before then?
No, I'm not the Ironman. Ironman Barcelona is the only Ironman branded event I'm doing this year. I'm kind of hoping that I can bet all my money on that one, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
But I'm going to do the French long distance champs, which is in maybe 8 or 9 weeks, I think. But it's the same. It's a weird distance, but I think it'll be good for me, because it's like a 3K swim, 80K bike, and 20K run. So the swim is kind of a bit more important, which is in Ironman you only spend 45 minutes for then in the water, which is it's a bit of a shame, especially when you come from short course and you've really worked hard on your swim.
Well, this is where it pays off for you, doesn't it? That you either get to lead out or you get to sit behind somebody else and just feel as though you're just ticking over for almost no effort. Yeah.
So I find it really important, even now, and I've actually become a better swimmer since I've gone to long course, if I'm honest, because I've really wanted to emphasize that with my dad, and my dad comes from a swimming background, and it's just we've just clicked in swimming, if you know what I mean. Whatever we've done, and I actually swim less than what I used to swim in terms of mileage, but when I only swim probably 3 times a week, but when I go to the pool I make sure it's a proper session, if you know what I mean. So I never really swim less than 6K now.
Okay. And what's your favourite session to do out of swim, bike or run? If you were left to your own devices and you just had to go and do something for fun, what would you go and do?
I'd probably go and do a stupidly long bike or a stupidly long run, to be honest, just on feel. So actually, as I said, I was having a tough time on there before the Lakesman, and I really needed to get kind of my confidence back up. And so I think it was Tuesday or Wednesday, I can't remember. It was pouring it down. It was like this huge storm, and I was like, right, I've had enough of not training properly. I'm just going to put my shoes on. And I went and did a marathon. So I just ran up this huge mountain and came back. And because sometimes I guess you just have to not follow the plan and just do what your heart's telling you, if you know what I mean. And so I guess on Sunday at the race, I came off the bike and thinking, oh, you did a marathon on Tuesday, you can do it again now. It's no bother really.
Wait a minute, that was 4 days before the actual race you went and did this mountain marathon?
Yeah, no, it wasn't a race. It was just it was just me training, if you know what I mean.
But this was 4 days before the Lakesman.
Yeah, it was. Yeah.
Wow. Okay. Slightly unusual taper.
I got a bit of a bollocking from my dad, I guess, but that's the risk.
Do you know what, though? The thing that's coming across with you is no one's ever going to sit down and write a plan that says run a marathon 5 days before an Ironman.
Yeah.
But it sounds like you're the kind of guy who races with his heart and you train based on, you want to be inspired by doing stuff, right?
I'm always gonna race that way, and that's also what I was saying. Why I find it so important for the swim is because at the moment I'm confident that I can lead any race in the long distance circuit. I can lead any race, whatever the level, for 50% at least of the race, if you know what I mean. Then I might blow, and so if every year I can gain 5%, 10%, then it's only a matter of time in my eyes to dominate the race from start to finish, and that's what I really, really want to do, if you know what I mean. I don't want to win. I want to properly win it, if you know what I mean.
Yeah. Wow, man. Hey, well, look, 30 minutes has absolutely flown by here interviewing you. I've been fascinated hearing your stories about.
Cool. It was great to talk to you.
You too, man. Well, listen, you've got to make a promise that you'll come back on the show after Barcelona and tell us the story after that, because I've got a feeling that we're going to be seeing and hearing a lot more about you in the future.
Let's hope. Yeah. Thanks. Cheers. I mean, it means a lot to have kind of just more and more support. And yeah, for me, it's kind of weird just talking to you. It's kind of the first podcast I've ever done, or any interview. Yeah. I'm probably pretty shit at talking. Sorry.
No problem at all, mate. And you're not. It's very, very interesting listening to your stories. And all we've got to do is get your dad to rein you back in the 5 days before the race, and who knows how fast you'll be able to go at Barcelona.
Yeah, for sure. Okay. Yeah,
right.
So I hope to talk to you again.
Yeah, great stuff. Great. Thanks very much for your time, man.
Thank you. See ya.
What a talent that young man is, to be able to go out and race an 8:21. And a little bit of a throwaway comment in the middle there. I did a mountain marathon 4 days before the race because I was going nuts during the taper. Wow. Oh, imagine how fast he could have gone if he'd not done that.
Don't. It's crazy. Crazy. Yeah, his times were just...
He loves training, doesn't he? He's got the body that absorbs it. He's got the mind that loves it. I've been following along on his social media recently, and he's still trying to absorb, I think, the fact that he went as fast as that and planning out his future. So, super talent. Thanks for all the listeners who either emailed or messaged with contact details. I love the fact we can ask the listeners and they put us in contact with people. We pretty much had Sam on an interview within an hour of his plane landing back in France, which was great.
That's awesome.
Really cool. All right, so Coach's Couch this week. We had a question through from Jessica Friend off the back of one of the Coach's Couches a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah, the one about listening to your body. And she was saying that she was listening to it when she was doing another turbo session because of a run injury. And then she asks about that. When I'm training around a run injury, should I be replacing run sessions with extra swimming and cycling, which don't hurt or aggravate my injury at all? And if so, do I do the same amount of training time-wise, or do I need to do more?
It's a really common question that comes up with the athletes, especially, you're dealing with people who've picked up run niggles and stuff. And the key thing here is she said, which don't hurt or aggravate my injury at all. So the first thing is, if you've got any kind of injury, obviously get yourself to a physio, get it treated and take their advice. And given that cycling doesn't affect the run injury and is not going to make it worse or delay your recovery, I think my advice to athletes is always to do a session on the bike in the region of 65 to 70% of FTP, or sort of in that lower to mid zone 2 heart rate, of the same duration that the run workout would have been, or up to 50% more. So let's say your run session would have been an hour. You can ride for between an hour and 90 minutes and just have it be that kind of cruisy aerobic session where you just either sitting on the turbo watching something on YouTube or just cruising out around the lanes. And then that way you get some extra aerobic volume without putting any sort of excessive top-end training load on your body. I think it's really tempting to think, well, biking's harder than running on your body, so I should be going really hard on the bike and doing extra intervals. But resist that urge, really polarize your training, and give it some on the sessions where you've got bike intervals. When you're replacing the run sessions, just go with that nice, steady, relaxed aerobic volume. And your body will adapt and will sort of absorb that aerobic volume really nicely. I think the danger is you feel as though you can do an interval session every day on the bike and you can really easily put yourself into a hole if you end up doing that. You always feel great once you're warmed up, and it's that cumulative effect over a few days. So, yeah, great question. Thanks very much, Jessica. It's something that we deal with quite a lot, Hells, in the Facebook group with Team Oxygenaddict. It's the dealing with, I've got a training plan. Something has happened and the training plan isn't going to plan. What do I do around the plan? Should I just follow it? What do I do now? So always try and take advice around this before you sort of plow into doing something that might damage your preparation. I think the best advice is always, rather than trying to do more, try to do less. So if you're unsure what to do around an injury, err on the side of doing a bit less than doing a bit more, because the key's got to be to listen to your body and get that injury repaired. And then listen, off the back of this, if you're considering coaching, whether Team Oxygenaddict might work for you, I figured what better way to help you make a decision than to let you hear from some of the people who've joined up, their experiences on the team and the effect that it's had on their performance. So this week, to shake it up a little bit, Hells, we've got a little testimonial from team member Laura Ongaro.
I'm a single full-time working mum of one daughter. So like a lot of age groupers, the juggle is real for me. I've been doing triathlon for about 10 years now, not with any real purpose or intent. I would do sprint distances, I would throw in the occasional Olympic, but I never really trained with any consistency. And so I never really saw any progression. So about a year ago now, I decided to go long, and I set myself some really challenging goals. I wanted to do 70.3 Mallorca, and then I wanted to follow that up with a full at Copenhagen. So I came out into the market for a coach, because I thought if I was going to do it, I was going to do it properly. And frankly, I don't know very much about Ironman training, so probably better to talk to somebody who does. There was quite a lot in the philosophy of the time training system that really appealed to me. I loved the emphasis on training to avoid injury. I loved the emphasis on training within yourself and it being about your own goals. And I was really keen to give it a go. And it's safe to say that that was one of the best decisions that I've ever made. It's not an understatement to say that the programme has changed my life, certainly my athletic life, but it's had a massive impact on all areas of my life. Everybody loves the numbers, so here's some numbers for you. I have doubled my FTP. I have dropped almost 40 seconds per 100 metres off my swim times, and my run times are coming along just as well. And just to put that into perspective, when I completed 70.3 Mallorca recently, which I did bang on the time that I wanted to in 30-degree heat, I ran a PB half marathon off the bike, which obviously I'm super stoked with. I would say to anybody considering joining Team Oxygenaddict, just go ahead and do it. We are a lovely bunch of people. Rob is always available to ask questions, but also the people on the forum, if you have had a bad training week or you've got questions on kit, people are always available to just offload on. Definitely go for it. It will be the best money you ever spent, and I look forward to seeing you in the forum.
Something a little bit different, someone else's voice on the show. Thought it'd be nice to get somebody on and have a little chat through. She's doing really well and she's really improving, and it's great to see like all the hard work getting rewarded. So well done, Laura.
Love it. And I love it how well, I do like it, Rob, how if you sort of go from doing bits and bobs and then actually you do more sort of structured training and then you do see the improvements, and that's what's ace.
Yeah. You've seen that with Laura. That's it. She's gone from doing bits and bobs to following structure over the winter and literally doubled her FTP, which it's not going to happen for everybody for sure, but it's a great headline figure, isn't it?
Yeah.
Just getting the structure in and recovering from it can make the big difference for sure. So again, link in the show notes to Team Oxygenaddict. You can go over and check all that out and drop us a line if you've got any questions. All right, so Hells, you've got the Canute Kids Duathlon in Knutsford coming up this weekend. I hope I can get my little dude down to race that, and that'd be great fun.
Hey, we'll see. Yeah, canuteduathlon.com. Online entries close at midnight on Wednesday, but then you can enter on the day as well at a small additional cost.
Brill. I might just stick him in the van and tell him we're going for a day out. Come on, we're
going
do
for
it.
A bike ride. Put his bike in.
Pushed in against his will. Bless his con socks. It's also Outlaw Half Holcombe coming up this weekend. If you're racing that, best of luck. I know some of you are going to be on our webinar helping prepare you for that, so maybe we'll see some of you later on. And also another big weekend of racing in Europe. We have got Challenge Roth and Ironman Austria coming up this weekend, so massive weekend of racing going on in the UK and across Europe as well. So best of luck to everybody. Try and stay cool, try and stay hydrated, follow that advice, and get on the Precision Hydration website to read their advice about all that stuff about keeping your sodium levels intact in the run-up, especially if you're flying from the UK into the baking hot cauldron of Europe this coming weekend. Right, just about wraps it up, doesn't it, Hells?
I think it does, Rob. Yeah, another week of madness. Can I just say, if anyone is yet to get a copy of Fueled by Cake, just do it. It would be amazing. Charity recipe book, fueledbycake.com. I still have some left. Brilliant. And Rob's nan's date and walnut loaf is in there, so why wouldn't you want to get a copy? It's all for charity. So yeah, fueledbycake.com. Thanks.
Awesome stuff. All right, everybody, we will be back with you next week with those results of Holcomb, Austria and Roth. Otherwise, have a great, safe training and racing week. Stay hydrated. You've been listening to the Oxygenaddict Triathlon Podcast. I'm Coach Rob Wilby.
I'm Helen Murray.
And until next week, have a great, safe training and racing week, everyone. We will see you all again soon. Cheers, everybody. See ya.